have no problem with continuing to get the facts and data, but only for finding out what happened, where we're going in the future, and making sure it doesn't happen again.
Well, a Democrat saying no problem about moving forward, but Democrats have a problem now with this 46-page interim progress report by 5 committees run by House Republicans. In it, scathing indictment of the administration, saying reductions of security levels prior to the attacks in Benghazi were approved at the highest levels in the State Department, up to and including Secretary Clinton, that the White House and senior State Department officials altered accurate talking points drafted by the intelligence community and in order to protect the State Department. And I'll read this quote. Specifically, after a White House deputies meeting on Saturday, September 15, 2012, the administration altered the talking points to remove references to the likely participation of Islamic extremists in the attack. The administration also removed references to the threat of extremists linked to al-Qaeda in Benghazi and eastern Libya, including information about at least 5 other attacks against foreign interests in Benghazi. Senior State Department officials requested, and the White House approved, that the details of the threats, specifics of the previous attack, and previous warnings be removed to insulate the department from criticism that it ignored the threat environment in Benghazi. We're back with the panel. It goes on. Kirsten.
What difference does it make, as Secretary Clinton would say? First of all, the Democrats are complaining that this is a hit job. It's a political hit job by the Republicans, and frequently these things do get politicized. But I would say the Democrats were welcome to be part of this, I'm sure, and nobody's stopping them from investigating Benghazi. And they embarrassed themselves during the hearings, spending the whole time trying to make up stories for why the administration dropped the ball on this. So one of the most interesting things in this is that Secretary Clinton, when she was testifying, said that she was not aware that nothing came to her attention in terms of security for the embassy, and in fact, it turns out that it did. And her exact words were, "I've made it very clear the security cables did not come to my attention or above this assistant secretary level." Well, it did go above this assistant secretary level. It actually went to her office. Now, whether she saw it or not is a different question, but it definitely went above assistant secretary level.
Charles, this report says it went up to and including Secretary Clinton.
Well, the Democrats can say it's a partisan attack, but when you produce documentary evidence of a charge that what she said in her when she addressed the Congress was not exactly right, that she was not aware of these security demands and threats.
Let's play that soundbite. It was going to be our
Sure.
bump-in shot. Go ahead.
The specific security requests pertaining to Benghazi, were handled by the security professionals in the department. I didn't see those requests. They didn't come to me. I didn't approve them. I didn't deny them.
Well, what the report says is that there is a cable that she signed which acknowledges the request by the then ambassador for additional security, and that nonetheless orders the withdrawal of security assets in Libya. So that's a contradiction to what she said. And the other damning evidence here, again, it doesn't matter who the source is, it's what's, the facts of the matter, that they did edit the talking points to remove references to al-Qaeda, which fits in the pattern that we discussed even earlier. The attempt always to try to pretend that these aren't part of a global jihad, whether it's here, it's Boston, the underwear attacker, or the Fort Hood shooter. It's a constant in this administration. There's a way to say, no, it's not. It's a one-shot deal, and let's go on. And I think that really is the problem that underlies all of this.
And that is kind of the big picture issue here, Steve. I mean, as you have Canadian officials talking about al-Qaeda in Iran directing that plot, I mean, it's interesting to just see this report out in that context.
Look, the president doesn't want to call it a war on terror. John Brennan doesn't want to call it a war on terror, but it is in fact a war on terror, and it continues whether we want it to or not. The Obama administration can wish that we weren't participants in this war, but we don't make that choice. That's not up to us. And I think what this report points out or highlights or suggests is that if they're deceiving us, that's bad. If they're deceiving themselves, that's dangerous. And that's, I think, the question we need an answer to.
The administration, through the national security spokesperson, said that they fully cooperated, and they pointed back to the independent body, the State Department's Accountability Review Board, which they have pointed to many times, saying that the recommendations are being implemented. That's it for the panel, but stay tuned as we get an update on some other important foreign news.